Alright everybody, I wanted to do a short video on examining some of the other workspaces within Fusion. So far we've done a fair amount on modeling. This is the Titan 1M that many of you have finished already, but I wanted to explore a little bit around some of the other areas and specifically the other workspaces to give you kind of an idea of what's coming next and how we kind of branch things out. So the first thing to understand is that right now, everything we've done is in the design workspace where we're going to make models, build models, and everything else. And you've seen create shapes and modify shapes, and you can put different shapes together in fancy ways here with a symbol. Um, there's also these other tabs up top. These are still design types of things. They just let you design different types of things, 2D surfaces or mesh type models, some sheet metal work if you're going to bend sheet metal, some funky plastic tools, and some other utilities things over here. But we're actually going to look at, for this video, we're going to look at the manufacturing workspace. So this is where we're going to go to actually kind of make these things, where we're going to program the machines in that type of interface. So we're going to go ahead and click on manufacture. And the first thing you should notice is that everything up here changed. These are no longer any of the same buttons at all. I'm going to turn off a few things here. And my tree also looks different. I still have the models menu, so I can see my Titan model and bodies and sketches and all of that. That's fine. But I also have the setup model here as well. So in the machining and manufacturing workspace, we have milling. If I'm going to do a milling project on the mini mill, like I think like the automatic Bridgeport, and then I have turning for lathe tools. So like the big lathe in the room, or the CL1, the mini, the small CNC lathe that's in there. If I want to do a lathe job, these are my turning tools. I have some limited tools for 3D printing, but the honest answer is that most of these are utilized for like large scale metal industrial 3D printers. It isn't really what we're working with. And there's some inspection tools you can probe automatically and some things like that, or like plasma jet. And some other fancy things. 90% of what we're going to be playing around with is going to be in either milling or turning. For us, in this particular one, when we look at the Titan 1M here, we'll do a milling operation here. But just like in the design workspace where you have all these different options and there's a kind of a suite of tools down below, the manufacturing workspace is set up pretty much the same. We have 2D paths down here. We have 3D paths over here, and then we have drilling and fancy, funky multi-axis paths and other things over here that we generally don't have to worry about the multi-axis stuff specifically. So to start, we're going to do just a quick new setup and show you kind of what that looks like. I'm not actually going to program this part now. This is just an introduction and an overview, but we are going to go through kind of the basics here. So to start, we click Setup here. That's going to go ahead and work its way through these types of windows. So we have our operation. First, we can say we're going to do a milling, or a cutting, or printing, or turning, which is like lathe work. This is going to be a milling. We don't have to worry about selecting the machine. You can if you really want to, but it slows things way down. So we're not really going to worry about that for now. Most of the rest of this should kind of auto-select, but this next one is important. This is going to, by default, probably say fixed size box or maybe even relative sized box. But this defines how big the material is that the machine is going to cut the part out of. And this is important because it's going to use the amount of material you tell it is there, like this extra yellow here, in order to know how much needs to be cut away. And if there's more material there than it expects, the cutter all of a sudden is going to have more load on it than it expects, and it might snap the cutter, damage it, or throw the part, lots of other things. So this is the reason that when we program, and actually when we size these things up on the Bridgeport specifically, this is the reason that we had those tolerances from 4.1 to 4.13. So I'm going to go, for this one, I would go, for example, by width. I'm going to put in 4.1. Right, that was the width there. The depth, it's 2-inch stock, and the height is 1-inch stock, so it looks something like this. For most purposes, usually we're going to put our center, like our origin, in the left-hand side, and usually I'll center the material here, right in the middle of the stock. When we cut our parts, there's honestly a really good chance that I might center it on the left, just in case some of our parts were a little bit on the small side. You can see 4.1 was the low end. We've still got a fair amount here. There's a good amount on either side. We've got about 50 thousandths on either side, so it should be fine, even if the stock was cut a little bit short. But when we load material, we're always going to put the machined edge on the left-hand side. So yeah, we define our stock here, and it looks okay. Most of the time as well, for the height, we tend to offset it from the top, like 10 thousandths or so. The reason is that I want all this extra material on here to hold on to, so that the machine can reach all the way down and get all the way around the part. Right? So I want that extra material, and I can take off a clean past the top to clean up everything else there. So I would come over here and I'd tell it where I want my origin to be. 99% of the time, we're going to use the back left corner of the stock. And it is important to make sure that your X, Y, and Z are going this direction. X should be to the right, Y should be backwards, and Z should be up. If you hold out your left pointer finger and your thumb is straight up like a little finger gun, and you put your middle finger straight to the right, that's kind of the action that we're looking for. Up, away, and to the right, those three. When I make things, I'm now kind of in the habit automatically of just making sure that I put my first sketch in kind of this XY plane with Z going straight up, just because I'm used to that, but that's the direction the machine is expecting it. So we would hit OK, and then we would go through and we would start choosing our different types of tool paths. Again, this isn't a video about that though, this is just kind of showing you the basic setup. In the event I was doing a lathe setup, I would open up, let's say, some other lathe part over here, see if I can't grab one of the rocket parts maybe. We'll grab one of these. Maybe I was done a lathe part here. And this one you can already see already has one, but we'll start a new one just to bring a point here. So, and you'll notice mine is gold, that's just going to set a material on there. That doesn't mean anything different as far as what we're doing. We would go to a new setup, and instead of milling, we would select a turning or mill turn operation. Notice it turns to a round piece of material in this case. And now my origin is always going to be in the center of rotation, but I just need to make sure that my Z is facing away, right? To the right is what I'm looking for here. So that actually is pretty good. I just go to stock, and all I have to define now is the diameter of the stock and how long I want the material to be in that piece of in that setup. So I'll say 2 inches, sure, looks great, 1 inch, etc. And the rest of this, for the most part, is totally fine. I hit OK. It says OK, here's the material, and I'm ready to go. And then, oops, straighten that out a little bit. And then I can go in through here and choose when I want to use what type of path to kind of do what I need to do. The only other thing that I'll say for this video is that although, yes, this is going to look pretty overwhelming when you kind of go in here and grab one. Let's say I do this finishing pass here. Every one of these menus is going to look pretty much identical. They're going to have a tool tab, a geometry tab of where you want to cut. And the tool is where you define how fast and what type of cutter you're going to use. A geometry tab that says where are you going to cut, where's the front, where's the back, what shapes are you trying to get. A radius tab that says how deep in do you want to go, where do you want to start your cut radially. A passes tab, how many passes do you want to take? Do you want to take lots of step downs? How big should each step down be, etc., that type of stuff. And then linking. 90% of the time, you're probably not going to care about linking, but linking controls the moves the machine makes as it gets close to a cut. So for example, this little green line is a linking move. It comes in fast in yellow, then it does a little sweep in green, a little bit slower, and then it moves into the cut. And blue is where it's actually cutting material, and then it comes out at the end. So yeah, like I said, essentially every one of these things is going to be the same. The menu options might look a little bit different, but basically every time you pick a tool, you're going to work your way through from left to right. You'll start at tool, geometry, radius, passes, and linking. And a mill operation, let's say that, is going to pretty much be the same thing, right? If I want to do a specific cut, for example, maybe I want to do we'll do a 2D with a face cut here. I'll come in, I'll select the tool I want to use. Maybe I want to use this giant face mill that's going to come in and do it. Tell it how fast I want to do under tool. You pretty much never going to have to worry about that. So this is only for milling. You don't have to worry about multi-axis. You tell it where you want it to actually do the cut. So hey, I want it to take the face off the part. Looks great. heights. How deep do you want it to go? All right, we got the bottom of the cut, the top of the cut, all that stuff is in there. How many passes do you want to take? Do you want to go in one direction or both directions? How far out should the passes be spaced? All of that type of stuff. The key thing to understand here as well is that anytime you're not sure what something is, you can always just mouse over it and hover for a second, and it'll show you a really, like, honestly pretty good description of exactly what that setting does. And that's for pretty much every single one of these things in here. If you're not sure on something, always worth it to just mouse over for a second and see what that window says. And then again, the linking tab is at the end that kind of shows how it moves out. So that's what I've got as far as introduction to the manufacturing workspace. And then the other buttons up here, for the most part, we're not too worried about. There's tool library, everything else. The last thing I would want to have you make sure that you did here, if you can scoot this over, make this visible. If you click on this name here, you can go up to preferences. And we want to make sure that under, I'm going to find it here, I believe it's under manufacture right here. You want to make sure that enable cloud libraries is checked. So you'll go to general, manufacture, enable cloud libraries. That's going to make sure that when you actually go to select a tool and you're doing a cut, the tool libraries that we care about actually show up. And again, a lot of this looks kind of overwhelming, but there are specific ones we'll talk about in class once it gets to that point that actually shows us, like, you know, what tools we're using. For the most part, you'll be sticking to CL1 tooling for the lathe and mini mill tooling for millwork. All the other ones in here are like other libraries from other companies that sell specific tools for specific things. But for us, for 99% of the time, we'll be in CL1 tooling for turning jobs and mini mill tooling for mill jobs, and we'll probably dip into the drill too. This is a full set of every single drill size that's made and we have, so that's kind of useful sometimes too. But in short, CL1, drills, and YC specialty tools are mini mill tooling is kind of our basic. Cool. Yeah, I don't think there is a Titan building block one, but I'm not sure that's up to date. I'll double check on that and we'll go from there. So, all right. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.